Welcome students to the Assam History class series. Today we are discussing the medieval history part 5. This is the lecture 6 of the Assam history classes. This lecture series is primarily based on the new pattern of APSC for both preliminary and mains examination. However, this is also useful for the other state level government examinations. So we have already discussed that Assam history can be divided into 5 segments, that is prehistory, ancient history, medieval history, modern history and post independence history. So we have already covered prehistory period of Assam and ancient history period of Assam. Right now we are discussing the medieval history of Assam, and in medieval history these are the topics which comes under the medieval history. We have already covered the first Mohammedan invasion of Kamrupa after the collapse of the Pala dynasty in the ancient kingdom of Kamrupa, then kingdom of Komota, Sutia kingdom, Baro Bhuyas, Khen dynasty, Kush dynasty, Kosari kingdom, Zoyanda kingdom. So we have covered these topics. So we are discussing the Ahom kingdom, and we have discussed the establishment of Ahom kingdom by Sorgodio Sukafa. We have begun the discussion of the important rulers. Okay, we have begun the discussion of the important rulers of Ahom kingdom, and we have covered a few rulers in our last class. So today we are continuing with the most important rulers of Ahom kingdom. So we have already covered till Sutingfa or Noria Roja. So we will continue from that. So next important ruler of the Ahom kingdom is Sutamla, and he ruled from 1648 to 1663, also known as Jayadhar Singha. He was the 20th king of the Ahom kingdom, and during his reign, the Mughal viceroy at Bengal, Mir Jumla II, invaded and occupied his capital Gorgaon, as a result of which he had to retreat to the Namrup area. So under the rule of Jayadhar Singha, Mir Jumla II attacked the Ahom kingdom and occupied the capital Gorgaon. So at that time the capital was Gorgaon, and he had to retreat to an Namrup area, and because of his retreat he is known as Bhagonia Raja in the Ahom Buronjis. So what are the Buronjis? The Buronjis are the chronicles or the systematic sequence of the historic events of a period, of a time period. So that chronicles in Ahom times, where during the Ahom kingdom, were called Buranjis. Now Mir Jumla's invasion. So during the rule of Jayadhar Singha, Mir Jumla invaded, and after the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan fell sick in 1658, the subordinate ruler of Coach Bihar, Pran Narayan, threw off the Mughal yoke and took possession of Kamrup and Hazo. So we know after the demise of Nor Narayan and Silarai, the Coach. So if this is the map of Assam, then Coach Bihar and Coach Hazo became separate, and once Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan fell sick or he became weak, then the ruler of Coach Bihar, Pran Narayan, took possession of the uh, Kamrup and the Coach Hazo area also. So this area he occupied, and this is the Coach Bihar. The Ahoms, taking advantage of the confusion, pushed west and took control of the region up to Sankos River. Mir Jumla II, Aurangzeb's general, who pursued Prince Suja to the Arakan, was made the governor of Bengal. So then, after Shah Jahan's downfall, Aurangzeb became the emperor, and he made Mir Jumla II the governor of Bengal. And very soon, Mir Jumla again repossessed Coach Bihar and began his campaign against the Ahom kingdom on 1662. The Ahoms took a stand at the Jogighopa fort at the Mana river. Mir Jumla overran Jogighopa, Guwahati, Simlagarh, Salagarh, and finally Sutamla's capital Gorgaon, which the Ahom king had abandoned for Namrup. So, if this is the map of Assam, then around here there is a Manas river. So, this was the border for the Ahom kingdom. And after the Mir Jumla was made the governor of Bengal, he repossessed the Coach Bihar. So this area is the Coach Bihar, and then he moved eastwards towards the Ahom kingdom, and he repossessed the Jogighopa, Guwahati, Simlagarh, Salagarh, and finally Gorgaon. The next important king in line was the Supangmung from 1663 to 1673. He was also known as Sokrodho Singha. Now he was an important Ahom king whom the Ahom kingdom took back, under whom the Ahom kingdom took back Guwahati from the Mughals following the reverses at the hands of Mir Jumla and the Treaty of Khilajari Ghat. So, as per the treaty, the Ahoms retreated from Guwahati, and Sokrodho Singha, during a small span of rule, is known for his fierce pride as Ahom monarch. Recapture of Guwahati. So, how he recaptured Guwahati, and Sokrodho Singha also laid the foundation of the glorious period of Ahom kingdom. Glorious period of the Ahom kingdom. We'll come to that part in our later slides. Sokrodho Singha, soon after the start of his reign, started repairing the forts at Samdhara and Patakalangan and restored the army to a state of efficiency. So he repaired the forts and restored the army. In March 1665, the king summoned an assembly of his ministers and nobles and ordered them to devise and adopt measures for expelling Mughals from western Assam. So during 1665 itself, the king took some efforts and summoned his ministers and nobles to discuss how to expel the Mughals from western Assam. In 1669, at the behest of Guru Tegh Bahadur, that is the 9th Guru of the Sikhs, a peaceful accord was reached at Dhuburi between forces of Mughal led by Raja Ram Singh I of Amber and King Sokrodho Singha. So at the request of Sikh 9th Sikh Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur, a peaceful accord was signed at Dhuburi between the forces of Mughal led by Raja Ram Singh I of Amber and King Sokrodho Singha. Earlier in 1667, Syed Firuz Khan, who succeeded Rashid Khan as the Thanedar of Guwahati, sent a strongly worded letter to Ahom king demanding the payment of the balance of indemnity still outstanding. And on receiving this letter, Sokrodho Singha made up his mind to fight the Mughals. So the uprooting of the Mughals laid its foundation around in early 1667. The necessary preparations were made with all speed, and in August 1667, a well-equipped army set out, led by Lasit Borphukan, to wrest Guwahati from the Mughals. So in November to midnight 1667, Itakuli and the contiguous garrison of Guwahati fell into the hands of Ahoms. So this is the famous battle of Itakuli. We will cover the important battles and treaties during the medieval era of Assam in our subsequent classes. The victors took possession of elephants, horses, guns, coins, and all other articles which they found in the imperial stores in Guwahati. The enemy was chased down to the mouth of Manas river, the old boundary of Ahom and Mughal India. So Manas River was the natural boundary between Ahom and the Mughal. The Ahoms also succeeded in bringing back the Assamese subjects who had been taken captives by the Mughals during the expedition of Mir Jumla. Thus, within the short span of 2 months, the Ahom succeeded in recovering their lost position and along with it their lost prestige and glory, and this was due mainly to the determination and courage of Ahom king Supangmung or Sakadhar Singha. Now, Supangmung is also referred to as the ideal monarch. So we will see why he is referred to as the ideal monarch. The king was regarded by Assamese as the fountainhead of all energy and inspiration, and Lasit so the king was regarded by Assamese as the fountainhead of all energy and inspiration, and Lasit Borphukan was fortunate in having Supangmung as the supreme head of the state. Also, he had to suffer in the beginning from the shameful legacies of the preceding regime. So, prior to his rule, some certain Ahom kings were weak, and he had to sort of make up for the weakness of his predecessors or earlier kings. During the 2 years long preparation for the war with Mughals, the monarch personally supervised the stocking of food, arms, and ammunition. He placed the smiths inside the palace enclosures to oversee their work, trained the archers with his own hand, and then finally ordered the march to Guwahati when he was fully satisfied with preparation. Supangmung also sent letters to neighboring chiefs in order to obtain their cooperation and support in his plan to resist the Mughals. The king's patriotic intent and self-respect came out in the letters of the period. Supangmung's insight and wisdom were best shown in the selection of Lasit Borphukan as the commander-in-chief to lead the new army. Supangmung also ordered his prime minister, Oton Borbhuya, a skilled soldier, military engineer, and a diplomat, to accompany Lasit Borphukan on the campaign to oust the Mughals from Assam. While the best brains of the country, whether in statesmanship or warcraft, were in the front line in Guwahati, the king had to manage the affairs of the country with inferior talents and abilities. Sitting at the capital for nearly 2 years, he managed and gave logistic support to the army in the front, supplying men, arms, and food materials. And after the recapture of Guwahati and recovery of the land up to the old boundary of Manas River, King Supangmung organized and streamlined the civil administration and revenue collection system of Lower Assam under senior officers, that is Phukans and Rajkuas, adapting from the Mughal system. So, after the recapturing of Guwahati, the King Supangmung stressed on streamlining and organizing the civil administration and revenue collection system of Lower Assam under senior officers Phukans and Rajkuas. From the capital, he maintained an efficient civil administration in the country, which was necessary to guarantee the regular reinforcements of men and materials to the army in the front line. The long war has taken both physical and mental toll of the king, and in April 1670, Supangmung died just 1 year before the Battle of Saraighat. So, he died 1 year before the Battle of Saraighat. The king did not get the satisfaction of seeing the final defeat of the imperialist Mughal army at Saraighat, which sealed the fate of all Mughal plans of expansion of their kingdom to the east. So Supangmung can be said to have given the desired momentum. So Supangmung gave the desired momentum, which paved the way for the ultimate victory of the Assamese. Now coming to the next important king, Sulik Fa, who ruled from 1679 to 1681. He is also called the Ratnadhava Singha. He was the king of the Ahom kingdom. He was only 17 years of age when Laluk Sola Borphukon, the Ahom viceroy of Guwahati and Lower Assam, raised him to the throne after disposing the former king Sudoifa. Due to his youth at the time of his accession, he was generally known as Lower Raja or the Boy King. His reign was characterized by the atrocities committed by Laluk Sola Borphukon, who held the real authority behind the throne. The most notorious act which occurred during his reign was the mutilation of Ahom princes belonging to the Royal Ahom dynasty. So while most of the Ahom princes suffered mutilation, Prince Godapani, the future king Godadhar Singha from the Tungkhungia branch of the Royal Ahom dynasty, escaped due to the efforts of his wife Joymoti Kuori, who refused to divulge any information regarding her husband's whereabouts, even in face of the tortures inflicted by the henchmen of Laura Rosa. After Laluk Sola Borphukon was assassinated in court intrigues, the nobles at Koliabor decided to get rid of the incompetent Laura Rosa and put an able prince on the throne. So Prince Godapani, who was living incognito at a place called Rani in Kamrup at the time, was nominated for the throne. Sulikfa or Laraja was deposed and exiled to Namrup, only to be executed later on. And why he did that? Because in order to safeguard his position, he passed an order that all the princes belonging to different clans should either be maimed or killed. A cruel plot which met with almost full success, but for the escape of Godapani, who belonged to the Tungkhungia clan. Laluk Sola tried his best to find about his whereabouts from his wife Joymoti, but Poti Joymoti was determined to save her husband. Therefore, she revealed nothing, even after suffering the most inhuman torture. In her martyrdom, she suffered as a bright example of patriotism, devotion to her husband, mental strength, and to an ability to withstand the greatest pleasure. Now, the next important king was Godadhar Singha, and Godadhar Singha ruled from 1681 to 1696. Laluk Sola Borphukon met his death at the hands of Godapani. Godapani that then ascended the throne in 1681. He assumed the Ahom name Supatfa and Hindu name Godadhar Singha, that is 1681 to 1696. He made his capital at Barkola. First of all, he waged a war against the Mughals, which is now famously known as Itakulir Ron or the War of Itakuli, and captured back Guwahati from the Mughals. So these are important points. The War of Itakuli. He was a Saivite, and to help propagate this form of Hindu worship, built Umananda Devaloy at Guwahati. He also built the Deodhar Ali, a road near Golaghat. He also had the lands surveyed. The earliest known copper plates recording grants of land by Ahom king to the Brahmins dates from the period of Godadhar Singha. Besides this, he suppressed many rebellions, both internal and external troubles from the various tribes. In this manner, he was able to keep peace and prosperity in the state. The next important king after Godadhar Singha is Rudrasingha, and Rudrasingha ruled from 1696 to 1714. So Godadhar Singha's eldest son Lai succeeded, and he took on the Hindu name of Rudra Singha. That is, he ruled from 1696 to 1714, and the Ahom king and the Ahom name Sukrumfa. In the honor of the memory of his mother Joymoti, he dug the famous Joysagar tank and built Joydol. Other architectural monuments and structures which are built by him are stone bridge built over the Namdang River, Korikotia Ali, Metaka Ali, etc. Rudra Singha gave royal patronage to the Bihu. He also created khels or position like Khaun, Kotoki, Boiragi, Doloi, Kakoti, etc. He also created high posts like Satriya Borua, Gayon Borua, Khensua Borua, Kukurusua Borua, Bes Borua, etc. He also subjugated the Kasaris and the Zoyantias, who had to remain content as vassal kings and accept the overlordship of the Ahoms. In this manner, the boundaries stretched from the Manas River in the west to the Karotia River in the east. Throughout his long reign, Rudrasingha tried his level best to raise the standard of living of the people, which is why even now his rule is emblazoned as a glorious chapter in the annals of Ahom history. Now coming to our next important topic, Siva Singha. Siva Singha ruled from 1714 to 1744. He was then Siva Singha succeeded. He took on the Ahom name of Sutanfa. He became a Shakti worshipper as he was initiated in the tenets of the Shakti cult by Krishnaram Bhattacharya, who was later on installed as head priest of Kamakya temple, which is situated atop the Nilachal hill. Since he was priest of a temple built on a hill, Parbat, he and his descendants were called Parvatiya Guhais. Siva Singha was a weak person who relied heavily on astrologers, and which explains the fact that when an astrologer told him that he was in danger of being dethroned, he installed his queen Puleswari, who assumed the name Puleswari, Promoteswari, one of the name of Durga, as Baraja or chief king, thus marking the beginning of the end of the Ahom dynasty. Puleswari was an orthodox Shakti worshipper who persecuted the Mohammedan Mohantos by forcibly making them to take prasad of Durga worship and appointing their foreheads with sacrificial blood. This resulted in the famous Mohammedan rebellion. So we will cover this topic into the next class. What is the Mohammedan rebellion? And after Puleswari died in 1731, Siva Singha married her sister Drupadi or Devapadi and made her the next Baraja with the name Ambika. And she was the one who constructed the Siva Dole. So these are important points. Students, please make a note of it because a question in both prelims and mains is expected. Constructed a Siva Dole at Sibsagar, which is the tallest Siva Dole in Assam. Drupadi died in 1738. Siva Singha then married the daughter of Salal Gosai, whose name was changed to Sarveswari from Anadori. It was during Siva Singha's reign that the Hayali was constructed in Sivasagar. Gauri Sagar tank and Sivasagar tank were dug at the instruction of Baur Raja Puleswari and Ambika respectively. Siva Singha's reign is remembered for developments of literary and cultural matters. This positive aspect was ultimately overshadowed by the sharp rise in fanatic savagism, which ultimately paved the way for downfall of the Ahom rule. Promoter Singha, now Siva Singha's brother Promoter Singha from 1744 to 1751 was next in line as per the instructions of their father Rudra Singha. Promoter Singha or Sunanfa's reign is chiefly remembered for the various temples and other buildings constructed in this region. For example, Singhodwar, that is main gate at Gorgaon, Sukleswar and Rudreswar temples at Guwahati, Sorgodev Rudra Singha, under whose instructions originally the Ronghor was built of bamboo and wood, was later on given the present shape by Promoter Singha. So Promoter Singha gave the Ronghor its present shape. Now coming to the next topic, Rajeshwar Singha. Rudra Singha's fourth son, Surampha, took on the mantle of kingship and he took on the name of Rajeshwar Singha, who ruled from 1751 to 1769. He stopped the atrocities of the Daflas and the Miris on the plain of the people of the plains. He also extended full support to the Manipur king to fight against the Burmese. Rajeshwar Singha sent Haranath Phukan with brief forces to the aid of the Manipuri king. The Ahom forces had to make way through dense forests, which is why this particular battle is called Lotakota Ron, In gratitude, the Manipuri king gave his daughter Kuranga, Kuranganayani in marriage to Rajeshwar Singha. Towards the end of the reign of Rajeshwar Singha, Baraburua Kirtisan alias Gandhela became powerful. He passed an order to burn all the Buranjis, that is history books written by Numali Borgohai, because he had adopted a negative stance against Gandhela's family in the Buranjis. As a result, much useful information was launched. In our upcoming classes, we will discuss the decay and downfall of Ahom Kingdom, the administration of Ahom Kingdom, and the Burmese attack and the arrival of East India Company, important battles and treaties of Assam history, and we will cover the important personalities of medieval Assam history. So with this, students, we come to an end to today's class. I hope this class was very helpful. Thank you. Thank you for watching.